You're listening to Actors Endurance, a podcast that inspires actors to never give up on their passion and find ways to continue to grow within the entertainment industry. My name is Shanette Wilson, and I'm an actress, and my co-host is Marlon Hargrave, and he is a teaching artist. And together, we are Actors Endurance.
Hello. Welcome to Actors Endurance, the podcast. We are greatly happy and ecstatic to bring to you this extraordinary writer. I've known him for most of my life now, and we both hail out of DC. He actually went to Howard. I just hung out at Howard, but he actually went to Howard. And ironically, when we were in New York, you were going to Columbia. I just finished AMDA, so then he went out west, and I came and stayed on the East Coast. But this guy is an extraordinary writer, award-winning writer. Let's give it up for Khari Wyatt. Yes, bring him on in with some love.
Thank you. I need you to be my hype man.
Hey, anything for anybody out of DC, I got automatic love, and the fact that we have a deeper connection, that's even better for me. How have you been?
Sure. I can't complain, man. Everything is doing all right.
All right.
The standard one day at a time, right?
Yeah, in this day and age, we need to do it like that. Mm-hmm. So the first thing, this being Actors Endurance, the first question that we have is one that we ask everyone, and that is, how have you been able to endure for quite some time?
Well, I mean, really, I think I'm a creative person. I've been a creative person all my life. So really it comes down to, I just feel like this is what God has for me to do. So no matter what the circumstances are, my mission to create overrides any circumstances. And so from the start to the end, till they put me in the ground, I will be creating in some form or fashion.
Okay. Oh, nice. And you've done, so in your writing, you've done mainly stage plays, right?
Well, I've done screenplays, TV pilots, because when I was at Columbia, I was getting my MFA in film. And stage plays was not something I had on my radar. I took a playwriting class as an elective when I was at Columbia with a man named Laura Linney's father, who was a notable playwright, who I had no idea he was a notable playwright. I just know he was a professor at Columbia. He had a play on Broadway. And so I was taking this elective just to, I'd never tried playwriting before. So I said, let me go and take this elective. And I took it, and playwriting kicked my ass. Like everything we learned in the film department, show, don't tell, less talking, more action, was the direct opposite in theater. Like all they do is talk and use limited spaces, right? I can't fade out. I can't cut to, I can't jump to another location. Like we got this stage, we got this set, and everything that's going on has to utilize what we have. And I could not do it to save my life. I was terrible. And at the end of the semester, I told Romulus, I was like, look, man, our final product was supposed to be a one-act play. And I was like, listen, this ain't gonna happen. Like I've tried, it's not working. Can I turn in one of my screenplays for this final project just so I could pass and move on? And he was good about it. He said, yeah, you can turn in your screenplay. I understand. He totally understood where I was coming from. But I said, I promise you, before I leave the earth, I will write a full-length play. And so about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I wrote a play, my first full-length. I had tried before that over the years, a little one act here, a little scene there, and still garbage. So 10 years ago was the first one I wrote that was actually, hey, that's pretty good. Let me keep working on it.
Wow. Now, how long did it take you to write that?
Wow. See, when you're talking to a writer, it's like it's never finished, right? So I mean, I've been working on that play for 10 years. I had a reading in October at a theater out in Santa Monica, the Morgan Wixon Theater New Works Festival. And even there I was changing lines and doing things to it. So I mean, really, I would say probably a year to get a good draft, and then years of workshops and readings to keep honing and keep honing and keep honing. And I mean, until it's on the stage produced or on the screen produced, and they're actually doing it right now today, it's never finished. You know, there's always something you see or hear you can change or whatever. But like for the actual initial first draft, like a year.
Okay.
Wow. I'm going to show this to actors that I train because they always want to change the lines. And I'm like, listen, man, you have no idea how much work a writer puts into their work just for you to come in and change it because it's inconvenient. No, you better dig a little deeper.
See,
That writer, it has it in for a reason, you know?
that's right. It's never just happenstance, right? Everything you put in there is for a reason. It came from somewhere and it's related to these characters. Now, actors do make good suggestions. I mean, that's the other part of the process. It's like, you know, you don't know everything and you don't also always know as a writer how it's going to come out, how it's going to impact once it's spoken out loud, right? So the actors play a great part in us creating our work. You know, when you go through the workshop process, you go through readings, you go through rehearsal processes, and actors, once they dig down and learn their character, they're like, you know, I don't know if the character would this way or that way, or would they, you know, so on and so forth. So they have a part to play, but not just to do it on their own volition, right? It's a part of a team, it's part of a process. And, you know, I've taken actor suggestions before. I'm like, you know what, I never thought of it that way. Let me look at it. And I go back and like, yeah, they were right. Let me rewrite that scene. Let me change that dialogue here. And it made it better.
You're the first writer that I've heard even say that, actually. That's wild. Out of all these years, I've never heard a writer say that an actor's input actually was part of the process. Very interesting. Have you, Shanette? Have you heard of that from a writer?
Yeah, but it's after, you know, the actor has done the work. Because a lot of times the actor doesn't do the work. They'll just read it one or two times and they don't like what the writer has written. It doesn't make sense to them. Then they want to change it. But do the work first. Like you said, understand the character. You know, go through the whole process of really like immersing yourself in that world and then decide, well, you know what? Okay, well, maybe the character wouldn't do. I think that's the difference. You know, when you do the work, then yeah, okay, yeah, you make the suggestions. People are more open to them, I think.
Right, exactly. It's like if you're, like I said, in a workshop process or a rehearsal process, you know, director's working and everybody's vibing and this, that, you know, I might hear something and change it on my own. But, you know, sometimes the actors, like I said, will say, hey, what about this? I'm like, damn, you're right. I didn't think about that. You don't know everything. Like some writers like to be God, you know, and you know, have a God complex, which I understand because you're creating this world, these people, but you have to let other people do their thing too. These other people are creative people too. They're creative vessels as well. And they might have a good idea. You know, that's the thing. I just want it to be good. You know, as the writer, your name is still going to be attached to it one way or the other. So let's make it the best it can be. And if the actor has a good suggestion, take that suggestion.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that one. Wow. So, so what is your favorite genre to write?
Drama.
Drama.
Drama. Yeah, man. I tell you. Now there'll be humor within it, but you don't do straight comedies like that. It doesn't come out of me like that. People tell me I'm funny, but it's different being funny, being yourself and sitting in the alley somewhere eating crabs. You know what I mean? And actually, I'm gonna make this comedy. Like, no, everything comes out of me as drama. You know, high stakes, emotional. You know, life, difficult circumstances, adversity, got triumph. You know, drama.
Nice, nice. So,
what's your least favorite genre to write? Your least favorite?
You know, that's interesting. I never thought of that before. I'll say comedy. And I only say comedy because comedy is a very specific skill set. And it's not easy to be funny. You know, like the object of this comedy is to enlighten people in some way through the story, but through laughter. And like that's its main driving force is the laughter. I don't do that. Like that doesn't come naturally to me at all. So I would say comedy. Could I write a comedy? Maybe. Maybe I'll try it one day, but it's not indigenous to my creative spirit.
Okay. Okay.
Got you. I like that. I like that. So, a question that I ask writers periodically is because I love stage combat so much. How
Mm.
come writers, especially in stage, how come writers don't write stage combat into their scenes?
That's interesting. I do. I have
Do
fights.
you?
I have fights here and there. I don't know why. That's a good question. I don't know. I think maybe, and that's probably because I have a cinematic mind. So I come from that world of TV and film. So I'm like, no, they can. People fight. People wrestle. People have disagreements and they get down. Right? Why should a theater be any different? So I do. Other people, maybe they don't have that cinematic background or they don't look at the world in those terms. Like to me, it's real. And so I don't know why other people don't as much.
Wow. Now, the reason that I mention that is because I always felt like musicals had an advantage over legit theater because of the energy. And you know what taught me that was Blue Man Group. I was like, they
Yeah,
didn't say any dialogue. And that thing was on Broadway for what, over 20 years, easy,
basically.
you
Mm-hmm.
know? And
Because
I'm sitting over there stomping all of that. And I'm like, oh my God, they're not even acting anymore. So what really got me was, and somebody said it's the energy, Marlon. I was like, you know what? That is it. It's the energy.
a, mu-
So
a musical is nothing but a concert, right? And it-
yes,
and the acting informs the music. It's
yep,
it's it's a concert. That's what a musical is. At the end of the day, people remember the songs. They don't necessarily remember the dialogue. So,
right.
if you're a person who loves live music, you probably would like musical theater. People are dancing, they're singing, big numbers, big sets, flying in, flying out. I went to see Ragtime, a damn little house came and floated from the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an experience. It's so they can do more in theory with the music and the dancing and and the props and the set design and everything than you would see in a legit theater, because the legit theater is supposed to be more realistic. Everybody sees a musical is not realistic. Nobody stops and starts singing in the real world when you go outside talking to somebody. Good morning, sir. No, that ain't real life. So it's like it's a performance. It's a concert. It's those things. So that's why it's popular. Everybody can feel good about a musical. You're going to see a legit play with, August Wilson or Charles Fuller. You don't necessarily feel good about Sergeant Waters, right? Sergeant Waters gonna make you feel good, you know.
Oh, that's true. Soldier's Play. Now, I've never seen that live. Of course, I've read the play and I
Mhm.
saw, the movie
On
version,
film. Mhm.
Howard and Denzel, which was a damn good movie.
Very good.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, because a lot of those plays, even Neil Simon, and you go back to Mamet and Shepard, like you left the theater thinking and contemplating on how you could make life different. It wasn't like you were leaving and going, I just, I was a great, great, you're
Right,
like,
right.
oh,
You leave the theater
um,
wanting to sing after you see a musical, right? You can't sing, but man, I might take some vocal lessons. I want to dance. All of these things. It make everybody's high. Everybody's high when they leave.
yeah.
If it's well done. But like I said, legit theater, that's not its purpose. Its purpose is more to make you think, make you feel something, make you take something away from it that you carry with you. And hopefully whatever that change is that needs to happen in you happens. And that might be a seed. So it's not designed to, and which I think is another part of the reason why theaters are having trouble. Like after the pandemic, everybody was home for what, a year, 2 years, whatever it was. And economically things were depressed for quite a while. And for some people it still is, and people had health issues and passed away. After that, people wanted to feel good. I bet you if you look at the revenues from musicals on Broadway, I bet you those are doing really well. But like plays about real life told like in a straight up form, Maybe people don't have the stomach for it.
Oh man.
You know,
Oh,
I think that's part of it. Like I said earlier when we were talking before we started, I think also a part of it is the audience is older. They don't have the same energy. They don't have the same money, so they can't donate as much as they used to. They don't have the money to spend like they used to. They have to make decisions. So now instead of going to see that movie, maybe they keep their streaming subscriptions, so they can be entertained at home. All these proliferation of guns and all these mass shootings, I think some people don't want to be in crowds for that reason. So I think it's like an amalgamation of different things that are causing theater to have issues with attendance after the pandemic, and also costs are rising for the theaters. The cost to rent theaters, the cost to produce the plays through the different unions, all that keeps going up. But they're not getting the same money from the philanthropic ends that they used to. The government here in America, for whatever reason, does not value the arts like in Europe. Like when I was at Columbia, I had friends from all over Sweden, Germany, all over London, paid for by their government. Wow. Not us. Not us. Like this country, they have some grants, but some grants. Like it's not important here because it would cost money for it to be important. And in the capitalist system, somebody got to have that money in their pocket. Like, why would we give it to the arts? Why is that important? Why would I want to fund people who are going to talk bad about me? Criticizes me, But I think you don't have a good arts culture in your country, you don't have a good culture at all, period.
I'm glad you said that, because I've said that music doesn't have enough love for us to survive as a society, and the representation of who we are as people is convoluted right now by people who aren't even really artists. That's what's crazy to me. They'll take your story and then say, oh, well, we need to sell this story, not tell this story. Right. And they'll put all of these little Hollywoodisms in there and then sell the story, but we're left with a blank, with a check that doesn't mean anything to us. It's like we went through an experience told by somebody else's perspective that wasn't meant to build humanity. It was literally just meant to entertain. And so what I'm thinking and what I'm hoping is for us, especially all three of us as stage act, or we are attached to the stage, is that we're able to take it back. But you brought up something interesting. The younger crowd is going more into gaming, and it's been really hard to get their attention. I knew someone who was a puppet master, and I was going to get into puppeteering. He's like, if you can keep their attention, you'll be good, but you're not going to be able to keep their attention because what's in their hand is more exciting. So as a playwright, how would you combat it? Or are you trying to reach in and get the younger generation to get more involved?
As a creative person, to me, I do what I do. I'm not trying to like grab people in any sort of, because once you start doing that, once you start chasing, then you start changing what you do. The art form is the art form. You come with it or you don't. It's that simple. I'm not, you can't chase people. They have to come and value what it is. And what it is live performance on a stage, a story being told in real time, which should be exciting, right? It should be entertaining. I know there's a lot of experimental theater and people doing this, that, and the other. But to me, a story, a beginning, a middle, an end, an entertaining scenario, and some great actors and some great stage craft, whatever that is, whether that's your set design, whether that's your costumes, your drops, audio elements, you bring all that to the stage in a live performance. That should be enough. I can't compete with a handheld video game system or a cell phone, right? You can find whatever you want on that cell phone anywhere in the world, literally in seconds. Nobody can compete with that. What it is about what they value. what gives them sustenance as people? Does that experience give you sustenance as a human being? How does that help you going forward in life? I don't know. I don't know if it does. Maybe it does for them in some way. I tend to think not. I tend to think it's more of a distraction and a crutch, right? Because when we were young, I remember like the Atari came out and television and the ColecoVision and all these video game systems. You know, everybody wanted to play it. Then the Nintendo, right? However, none of those things trumped being outside. Like we were in the street constantly. That was like, no, I'm going down the block. I'm going across here. I'm going over. You know, we gonna play. We gonna go to the courts. We gonna do whatever. Being inside was like if it's raining and they won't let you go out. That's when you played the video games. You played video games at night when you couldn't be outside, or before you went outside, you would play. But none of those video games was more important than actually being out in the street. And in the summertime, you know how we do. We be out there, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, till somebody said, come on in, now it's time to come on in. But I don't see kids on the street anymore. If I see any kids on the street, it's they skateboard. That's it, and doing their little tricks at the park. But I don't see kids playing in the street like they used to. I think all of them are on them phones or using these little video game systems, and that has taken more important than actually being around other people. So now everything's virtual, which brings me to the AI, which is threatening all creative life, right? Like we just had a contract with SAG that we had to vote on. Oh, yeah. And contract fine, whatever, but the AI part of it was just like insane. Like they are going to take your name, your image, your voice, and do what with it, right? Like I know they say they have to inform you and so on and so forth, but come on. We've been in America all our lives. We've been in the world all our lives, right? You know where this is going to go. You know it's going to end up no good, especially for female performers. What's her face going to be attached to? What's her voice going to be attached to? Come on now. It doesn't make any sense. So to me, that's a non-starter. Like we should have still been on strike just for that AI. No, seriously. And I know people will be like, oh, come on. People needed to get back to work, which is true. A lot of people who aren't in the arts, but who are below the line people, crew members, hair, makeup, costumers, all of these people who don't have a union, they only work when there's work. And so they were losing their houses and falling behind. I'm sympathetic to that. However, like I told you, once you let something out, once you let it out the bottle, you can't put it back in. So now we've ratified this contract with this AI, and they still don't know what it's going to be exactly. But we do know that now they can take your face and your voice if you agree to it. But we all know if Marlon doesn't sign the contract that agrees to it, Marlon don't get the part.
Yep, and Chris will take it. Chris will be right there.
Yeah, and somebody else will take the part and will agree to and when they're dead 50 years from now, year 51, he's in a movie. She's in a movie. That's weird to me. Maybe it's just me, but that's strange that we are creating fake images that are presented as real. Yeah. That is beyond recognition to me. That's insane. And it can't lead to anywhere good. Like for all the AI's benefits, and there are a lot of benefits, right? A lot of what we do on the computer is AI fed, right? You get information, you type it in and boom, it pops up. The address pops up. All that's AI. Wonderful. But when you start talking about taking a person's face and a person's voice and being able to utilize it as if they actually did a performance, that's an ethical dilemma to me. That's an ethical dilemma. That's like cloning people to me. Like
it is. It's a digital clone.
It's a bridge too far, right? Like, Like, what are you going to do with that face? What are you going to do? And even though they'll pay you, in theory, they're going to pay you. So they say, we know they're going to try to work around that somehow and not pay you. But they're going to pay you as if you had worked. But it's like, on the one hand, I think it's like disrespectful to like the art form of acting, right? And writing, I mean, you talk about the chat GPT, whatever that is, like writers saying it gives them an advantage. Like, look, man, part of the journey of being a writer is to figure it out. Like, what? Like, if the computer's gonna do your work, then why do they need you?
Yeah, yeah.
Why does your story need you? If you just gonna go to the computer and let the computer tell you what to do, that's easy. Like, I could have sat down and watched the TV show and just mapped out the beats of that TV show and then just put my story on it and do the same beat. Like, but what kind of what is that? My story doesn't have any soul now. It's just mathematics, or it's just puzzle pieces. Like, it's just whatever. Where's the soul of your story? Everybody's trying to get away from the soul of the arts.
Huh.
Man, listen.
I like how you describe that, because that is you're absolutely right. But I also don't think that 'cause I know you were saying, you don't know how they're gonna use your likeness, and they could change, like they could just take my face, add the nose, make it bigger, make me dark skinned, and just say it's not me anymore. But what about it's gonna affect the women, I think, in a bad way, but the men also.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Making wind up places they weren't really at. Yeah.
And doing things and being characters, you don't if
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, once you open, even if they have good intentions, even if the studios have good intentions, even if I give them that benevolence, I know you mean well. You are just trying to cut your costs. This is just this new technology you want to use to keep the industry alive for another 100 years. Even if I take you at your word, we all know it's not going to go that way. There's going to be somebody who just goes a little too far and just pushes the edge and pushes the edge and pushes the edge. And then all the other people are going to follow. And they're going to push to the edge and push to the edge until they push us over the cliff. You can't mess with people's spirits. You can't fake humanity. Do it, but I think it comes at a cost. And the cost is the soul of your culture, the soul of your art form. Like, everybody wants to make money. Nobody wants to be here broke, However, it's not always what you do, it's how you do it. And creating these fake AI likenesses and voices from real people. I mean, it'd be like if I was working somewhere and I took somebody's social security number and put it on another person's name and got a credit card and used it, and I go to jail. Why is this different? Like, we talk about cybersecurity, we talk about protect your social security number, protect your passwords, but then you do things that allow people to easily take those things and use it for their own advantage. So I feel like we 6 of one and half dozen of the other. They don't mean what they say. Like the DEI statements of these theaters after the George Floyd killing, right? All these, and we see you at American Theater, and they had all these, everybody's DEI statement, and our theater believes this and our theater believes that. And then you go to their submissions page for scripts. We only take submissions from agents.
Yeah.
Okay? You just told me about all these DEI, but yet you still closed off. What inclusion? I don't believe you believe what you're saying. I think you're just saying it, because it's like you've made one group of people arbiters over all these people who have products. And they always say, well, we have a small staff, we can't read, which I get. However, agents aren't the only arbiters.
Yes.
Or even the best arbiter. How about that? Everybody assumes because you have an agent that you got great work. You have salable work to the agent. For whatever reason, they think they can sell you. They don't make it good. And it don't mean if you don't, that you don't have it. It's, like these theaters, man, I'm telling you, it's strange days. It's strange days, man.
Wow. Never even looked at it like that. Wow. Wait, I see we're gonna have to have you back for a part two, brother. We didn't even scratch the surface on nothing. You definitely had some stuff on your mind, but to be honest, I mean, your perspective, we've done a couple of interviews with writers, and your perspective is definitely um, it's in line of what's going on and what the bigger problems are, especially in the theater. And I've been saying it for a while that the movies were on a decline, but I really couldn't figure out why theaters were on a decline. One of the reasons that I really thought, and I guess we'll have to get into it later, but I don't use microphones on stage under 2,000 seaters. I don't believe in it because I
Mm.
understand that it's the energy, like the singing and the dancing brings energy. But if you don't have vocal energy, if you don't have the training of your lower register, your breath control, you're not going to be able to project. And the projection is the energy, the stage movement. Like, how are you doing a stage play? You've never taken movement classes. You
Mm.
have to, it's different. You have to know how to move differently. The dynamic is different. The energy is different. The moment before is different. You know what I mean? And getting in and out of character, you got to be able to do that in a flash. And
I just read something about a show that happened out here in Pasadena, and it was well received. Inherit the Wind, a very well received show. John Douglas Thompson and Alfred Molina starred in it. Great actors, but somebody was complaining about microphones were being used, and it threw them off as an audience member. Like, why are they wearing these microphones or whatever, whatever? And I know those two men can get down in a theater without a microphone. So it does call into question, like, why? Like, part of the art form of acting in a theater is to use your instrument,
yep.
right? Like, your body, your voice. Like, people can't do that now. I don't, like, I thought that was like, that's basic, right? That's like, just all that is starting your car to tell an actor in the theater to project to the back of the house, right?
Yep.
That's like the most basic shit ever. That's not even telling them to do anything. That's just saying, do your job. Do what you do. That's basic. That's like, I start my car so I can drive. That's not even an instruction. Like, of course I'm gonna start the car. I can't drive if I don't start the car. Of course I'm gonna project to the back of the house. There's people back there. I'm here. They need to hear what I'm saying. But here we are. Like, it's crazy. We can't even do shit anymore. I don't understand.
I understand it. The people have been hiring popular people, and they think that you can hire a stage actor in the same manner as a film actor, not understanding that there's a total difference in skill levels. So when you start to be small, a microphone makes you small. A microphone is because you need to be intimate. And just the body language of a stage whisper changes everything. You know, the breath support that you need in order to be able to perform like that. And I've always known since my days at Howard was we're responsible for the energy that the audience receives, and they will give us the energy back as we give it to them.
That's
So
right.
you have to know how to be bigger. The whole idea of stage is you have a front row of people that you have to be believable, so you can't be too big. You got a back row of people that need to see you, so you can't be too small. And
That's
to
right.
me, that is the balance of a true artist, and not taking the liberty of changing the writer's words. Is actually, again, like you said, figure it out,
Yeah.
find the character that's written, reverse engineer it, and put it back into your body so that you look different, you talk different, you walk different, and you are projecting out. So I think that my mission in going into 2024 is to get back to training stage actors and not necessarily film actors anymore, because they're just letting anyone that can be popular can be in a stage or in a film. But a
Yeah.
stage play, you got to have a better dynamic.
You, but they're doing this, they're casting the same way in some of these productions. They just want a name, even though they might not come from theater. They just want a
Yep.
name because they're trying to get those older people and those old, those old audiences back into the theater, and they'll show up for a name, right?
Yeah.
They won't show up for me, but they'll show up. They might not show up for my play just based off my name because I don't have a name that you know. across the country. So, but if you say, well, Denzel Washington is going to be in his play, Michael B. Jordan is going to be in his play, they're going to show up. Now Denzel's a theater head. I don't know about Michael B. Jordan. Great actor. I don't know if he's a theater, but my point, is just the name. They want names and not necessarily skills for that art form. Which I think also part of our problem is the dumb down of the culture. I mean, all these reality TV shows that we've been fed for the last 15, 20 years has become a thing that has, I think, caused a lowering of expectation, right? You watch The Real Housewives, when they say they're going on vacation, we know what that means, right? Let's take a trip, It's all fun and games, right? But I think it does have impact on theater. It does have impact on film because it's constant, it's fake, but it's constant energy, constant conflict, constant entertainment in that way, right? It's not a beginning, middle, and the end. It's just people acting a fool or people being dramatic or people going through something at any given time, even though it's manufactured, behind the scenes is, okay, Candy, why don't you tell her what you thought about at Portia's, what I'm saying? It's that whole thing. So it's not really organic. It's fake drama, but it's drama and it's entertaining. And, people, I think, go to a theater and expecting that. And it's a certain type of play. You're not going to get that, right? A legit theater performance demands you bring something to it as well. You have to bring some intellect. You have to bring some of your spirit to it. You have to understand what's going on in front of you and how that reflects on you and where you come from and where you're going. And I don't think people want to do work. I think people have gotten used to mind drain, just watch these people, chicking it out. Ha ha he, and I can go home, go turn it off and go to bed. Art that takes work, theater is an art that takes work. Film is an art that takes some work depending on what kind of film you're going to see. Like I said, we talked about earlier, musicals. They don't take work. You just gotta like music. If you don't like the music, that's one thing, but you just have to like music and get caught up in the energy. You go see Hamilton. Why wouldn't I like Hamilton, right? Why wouldn't you like that energy? Why wouldn't you like the Lion King energy? Why wouldn't you like Wicked's energy? They singing these songs, they're catchy. You go home and it's in your head. You can't stop singing them, people singing and dancing, But a legit theater show, that's some work. You got to bring more to it than just you want to be entertained, even though you should be entertained as well. That's part of the job, is to entertain people through whatever the story you're telling. But also the themes that are being talked about do require some intellect and some emotional investment from the audience member. And people, I don't think, want to make that investment as much as they used to, because we've been trained out of it by these reality shows.
Wow. Well, like I said, we're gonna have
my 2 cents. And let me just say, I know people who produce reality shows. Cool. I'm not opposed to the reality. I'm just saying, I think as much as we get, though, does take a toll on the audience and what their expectations are for other forms of entertainment.
Wow. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And we're going to get into our martini round on that note.
Okay.
Wow. I mean, you are a wealth. I didn't expect for it to go this way, because we haven't had a conversation with a legit stage writer, like coming from the perspective of stage. So this was definitely a little bit different in that manner or in that sense. But wow, for some very good insight. Thank you. Shanette, would you like to do the speed round, or do you want me to do it?
You go right ahead.
Okay, all right. So this is what we have, our martini round. And of course, I took that from the martini shot of filming. And so this is the one before the last, I guess, if you want to call it that. But real simple stuff, very fun questions. You ready?
Yeah, man, I try.
All right, all right. What is your favorite smell?
Ooh, my mother's sweet potato pie.
Oh my goodness. Oh, don't make me hungry. All right. Uh, your preferable vacation spot.
Amsterdam.
Oh, not for yeah, me too, for other reasons. We'll talk about that later. Uh, cat or dog?
Yeah.
All right. What is your go-to shoe?
Suede Pumas. Old school.
Ooh, back in the breaking shoes. Okay, I
Yeah, man.
love
Very
it.
comfortable. Very comfortable.
Wow. All right. Last question. What is your favorite time of the year?
Fall.
Everybody says fall. Why?
Because it's warm during the day, a little chill at night. The colors are changing, the leaves are changing. It's just a different. It's a different vibe.
Oh, wow. On that note, do you miss it being in LA or being out west?
Of course, I miss the seasons. Like I'm not a person. I'm not a person who is opposed to snow or rain or any. I like that stuff. Like to me, that's life, right? Like
Wow.
I appreciate the sunshine, but I'm not a person who needs. I don't like anything the same, like in perpetuity. Like today is like 70 degrees and sunny. It's like the first day I came here 20 years ago. 70 degrees and sunny. It's like the exact same day, which a lot
Wow.
of people love that, and I don't dislike it. I just appreciate the seasons changing because it makes you appreciate the next season that much more, right? So, like back on the East Coast, when you go through that winter, you appreciate when spring hits. The girls start wearing the sundresses and the sandals, it just get a little warmth out there, and then you appreciate that summer, okay, it's not cold anymore, the chill is gone, it's totally warm. But then you like, I'm tired of the heat. Here comes the fall. Like everything plays its position. It's just the
Wow.
cycles of life. Like people want perfection, which doesn't exist, which is why they love LA so much or California with that weather. And California is beautiful, a lot of beautiful scenery, a lot of beautiful nature, and yeah, the sun shines a lot. I'm just
Uh,
saying, there's no perfection on the earth, right? You're gonna have to have a snowstorm, some rainstorms, all that kind of thing. It is what it is. It's how you deal with them.
nice, nice. Yeah, I'm in Texas now, so it's sort of the same thing, sunny all year. It's still, I
Yeah,
can go outside in a t-shirt right now. Just
yeah.
left Connecticut. I was like in bubble goose, it was
Oh
crazy.
yeah. But see, that bubble goose was warm though, wasn't it? You know
Oh
how to
yeah,
you knew how to maneuver for Connecticut. You learned
yes,
how to navigate your circumstances. That's what I
yeah.
tell people. You miss the snow? I'm like, yeah, I miss it. It's nice to have a nice little snowfall. The first snowfall of the year is beautiful. Yeah, it gets tiring to shovel snow every now and again, but yeah, it is what it is. It's part of life, right? You knew to get a bubble goose, right?
That's
You knew to
true.
put on some Timbs. Like I tell people, you prepare for it because you know it's coming. So you do what you do to survive it, to thrive through it.
Well, you would love Atlanta. We get all four of these seasons. Right
I
now,
know that's right. I
yeah,
know that's right. Atlanta's like the new hot spot. Everybody going to Atlanta.
I'm telling you. I miss LA though. I like that 70 degrees. I like the
Every day,
7
every day.
every day.
Oh man, I hear you. I hear you. It's just to me, it's like a reflection of life. It's like it seems cool, but there's so much going on in LA underneath that 70 degrees in sun.
Right
Can you
about
can you totally enjoy the 70 degrees in sun every day? Like, what are you not seeing? What are you overlooking? You know, I hear you though. I'm getting on a whole existential level of weather and stuff. 70 degrees and sunny is cool.
Well, I can just tell you, Atlanta and LA aren't very different. They're very
Oh,
similar.
really? Interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Okay.
So you
I
can
hear
come.
good things about Atlanta. One day I'm gonna have to visit.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. But anyway, hey, it's been a pleasure having you on the show for sure. You dropped some really good gems, gave some really great insight too. It's a great interview. Great interview.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And to everyone listening, you can list your social medias. You can catch us on actorsendurance.com, Actors Endurance Podcast on YouTube, and Actors Endurance on all social medias. Any last words you want to leave us with, Kari?
Yeah, I say this. Don't miss the blessing you have because you're too busy chasing the blessing you want.
Wow.
I'll leave that there. Whatever that means to you, I'll leave that there.
That may be on a t-shirt. I'm gonna have to put, the little squiggly line in your name on that quote. That wow. That one I really, really like. Oh man. That's yours?
That's me, brother. I learned the hard way. Sometimes you learn the hard way, brother.
Yeah. Well, when you learn the hard way, you actually do learn. So so there we go. But it's tremendous. I'm so happy that we got a chance to catch up and yeah, I'll tap back with you just in general, man. It's,
please do.
Yeah. I'll be out LA soon. I'm not sure when, but I definitely want to sit down and chop it up with you.
Hit me up for sure.
Absolutely.
It's been way too long, man.
It has been actually, yeah. It's been a long time. Well, I haven't seen you since I was telling Shanette. I think I haven't seen you since the Tyson fight.
Fight. That's right. That's right. How's Desmond?
Oh, he's doing fine. Both of the brothers are doing very well. One's in Baltimore and the other one's in Connecticut. So,
I keep up with Marcus on Facebook. I keep up with Marcus on Facebook a little bit. So I see what's going on with him, but I don't never see nothing about Desmond.
Oh, he's under a different name. I'll tell you.
Okay.
When we get off this joint, that's probably why you can't find him.
Okay, cool.
All right, brother. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. And wow, yeah, very insightful. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for watching, and we'll chat you on the next one. Stay tuned.